Kung ako Pangulo, magkaka-negative 15 ako. Ano bang gusto ng Pilipino? Ibigay natin. Ayaw nila ng ayuda. Ang gusto ng sambayan ng Pilipino, dekalidad na trabaho, walang nakawan sa pamahalaan, imbestigahan at mapanagot yung mga magnanakaw sa mga maanumalyang flood control project. O eto tayo kay George Garcia ho tayo ngayon. Pambira kayo ha. Eto, kala siguro nitong mga to makakaisa sila kay BP Sara. O dito tayo kay George Garcia. Interview niya ho ito sa Storycon. Game.
We were able to...
Senator Rodante Marcoleta, what is the latest on that?
Oh, yung mga entitled na mga what is the latest on that?
Well, we dismissed the case simply because dapat po under the Omnibus Election Code, a candidate should reveal the names of the donors. But however, we were able to establish the fact that indeed may nagbigay sa kanya ng 75 million, tatlo yung donors niya. But at the same time, there was this law, Republic Act 7166, 1991 law, amending the provision of the Omnibus Election Code saying that it is no longer a criminal act if you will not report the names of the contributors. So hindi na po siya kasong criminal, decriminalized po siya by the provision of Republic Act 7166. However, the donors are required to submit the certification of the contributions, the statement of contributions 30 days after the conduct of the election, and that provision of the Omnibus Election Code was not repealed or amended by Republic Act 7166. So until today, the cases against the three contributors are still undergoing preliminary investigation with the Law Department of the Commissioner election.
So Republic Act 7166 decriminalized non-disclosure or inaccuracies in the SOSE or misreporting in the SOSE. So ano na yung penalty, sir? I mean, for...
Hoy Regina, naghahanap ka ng penalty. Wala nga batas na linabag eh. Decriminalize ka, ano penalty na? Talaga tong mga to, basta mga kalaban ng mga amo nilang oligarko sa Senado, kailangan may penalty. Yung mga anomalyang flood control project, di kayo naghahanap ng penalty. Yun nga itong mga to.
For candidates to not declare contributions, for them to misdeclare contributions, now that it's been decriminalized?
Well, yes po. So it's no longer a criminal case. Administratively, they can be required to pay administrative fine of ranging from 2,000 to 20,000 pesos, depending on the petition depending on the amount involved. In fact, the non-filing of SOSE under the Omnibus Election Code and under Republic Act 7166 is not criminal. It is actually punishable only as an administrative case, and therefore, ang penalty lang po is fine also and not imprisonment.
2,000 to 20,000.
Bakit pa po tayo nangihingi? Bakit pa nangihingi na SOSE?
Kaya nga. And 2,000 to...
Kung ano bang issue nito mga nagtatanong na to? Kay Senator Rodante Marcoleta lang? Yung SOSE nitong, yung SOSE na galing sa maleta, hindi natin tatanong. Bakit hindi diniklara yung mga galing sa maleta? Yan ang problema natin dito.
20,000 peso penalty. I think you will agree with me that's not really a deterrent.
Yes, ma'am, and that's the reason.
Barya lang yan.
For Ma'am Ami, that's the reason why Ma'am Reg, the COMEC have been pushing for the revision and or amendment of our existing law. Simply because yun nga po, when they decriminalize the non-filing or the non-revelation of the names of the contributors and donors, so parang ang iba, hindi na lang magpa-file ng SOSE. Wala na lang filing.
Yeah.
Ang provision po ng bagong batas natin is, which was actually...
Kasi pagka nag-file ka, mapaplunder ka pa eh. Ba't mag-file ka pa? Magmulta ka na lang. Anak ng tawa, pag nagsabi ka ng totoo, kagaya kay Senator Rodante Marcoleta, mapaplunder ka. Pag hindi ka nag-file, magmumulta ka lang. O pili kayo, flunder o magmulta.
Several years ago, kapag first time ka hindi nag-file ng SOSE, you will be administratively fined 2,000 to 20,000 pesos. 2,000 to 20,000 pesos. However, if you fail to file 2 consecutive SOSE or 2 consecutive elections, dyan po papasok yung kaso ng Joel Maturan versus the Commission election. The Supreme Court said that it should meet the penalty of perpetual disqualification to hold public office.
Niyo.
Sir,
Wala na rin yan. Wala na yung penalty na yan.
Nandyan pa po, basta you fail to
Nandyan pa.
post for 2 consecutive election, perpetual disqualification to hold public office po yan, Ma'am Ami.
So yung penalty na yan nandyan pa.
Yes po, that's right. Pero yung non-filing,
okay.
even po, Ma'am Ami, non-filing of
Yeah.
SOTE, walang criminal liability but administrative. Tapos pagka nag-file ka ng SOSE, pagkatapos merong problema, you can be charged either an election offense or a perjury case for misdeclaration, and or at the same time, under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, pwede ka rin ma-file ng kaso sa Office of the Ombudsman.
Sir, technically and legally, is that yung 75 billion, was that a campaign contribution or not? I asked that kasi mukhang doon nag-hinge ngayon yung plunder charge against Marcoleta on the idea that it is not a campaign contribution technically because it was before the start of the campaign period. So as far as you're concerned, was it a campaign contribution technically or was it not?
It was never resolved by the Commission as regards as to whether this constitute a campaign contribution. Hindi po na doon kasi na-sentro yung decision ng COMELEC. Perhaps, Sir Ed, and without prejudice to the outcome of the cases against the 3 contributors, perhaps that will be the defense of the contributors when they will be filing their counter affidavits in the preliminary investigation that they are facing. Maaari na ma-raise nila because it was not the issue as resolved in the case as against Senator Marcoleta. Surely, ang magiging contention nila because of the case of Peñera versus the Commission on Election, you are not yet considered a candidate until the first day of the campaign period, and hence, election laws will not be applicable sa iyo from the date of the filing of the candidacy until the very first day of the campaign period.
Balik na naman tayo sa Peñera defense.
Pero sir, as a COMELEC chairman, what is your legal opinion on that? Kasi we have this strange situation where a contribution was made supposedly to help in the campaign, pero it is not a campaign contribution because it is not within the campaign period. And so government is saying, the ombudsman is saying na, kung hindi yan campaign contribution, edi ano yan, donation yan illegal.
Oo.
Kung napansin niyo, Sir Ed, ganun ang eksaktong wordings ng ombudsman sa case. Sabi niya, there may not be an election offense because of the amendment of the law, but surely there will be a violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt
Yes, sir.
Practices Act or plunder. Sa part po ni COMELEC, at this point, Sir Ed, ayoko muna kasi I'll be one of those who will be deciding the cases as against the 3 contributors. And in fact, this is the best opportunity. Again, we would like to reiterate to our legislators, please try, we're hoping that they amend the provision of Republic Act 9369, which is the automated election law, of which nandun kasi yung provision noong Peñera, yung nagsasabing they'll be candidates only at the first day of the campaign period. The reason why we should remedy the situation is because pag pumasok na po next year, yung filing ng mga candidacies natin by October halimbawa, and they will be spending this left and right, they will be on television, radio, and newspapers. And the question is, can we require them to submit the statement of expenditures during those periods when in fact the campaign period would start by February, second week, or March
27.
for the local position.
Bottom line dito, talagang panggigipit lamang yung ginagawa dito kay Senator Rodante Marcoleta. At yung mga reporter naman na to, talagang pinanggigilan itong si Sen. Ba't ba kayo galit kay Sen Dante? Inaano ba niya kayo? Hindi, lahat ay kargado yung mga yan, kilala ko. Ano natin, yung Caracas, tanong pa lang. Alam ho natin kasi, tanong pa lang. Naratibo kasi ng mga yan, naratibo ni Soto, naratibo ni Ping. Pagka kausap nila si Ping o kaya naman si Soto, Senator, ano dito, ganito, ganyan. Gano'n sila pero wala bang ganito? Hindi ba siya gaganyanin? Dapat meron pananagutan. Ganyan ho sila, ganyan ang tono nito mga to. Kaya sinasabi ko sa inyo, kung di pa ako nakasubscribe sa Net25, News and Information at sa SMNI, nahuhuli ho kayo sa mga balita. At kung di pa, alangan na mag-subscribe kayo sa Net25 at sa SMNI, sa PH Update, di kayo nakasubscribe. Lalong huli ho kayo dyan. Kaya ang pinakamagandang pinakamagandang gawin, mag-subscribe muna kayo sa PH Update bago kayo mag-subscribe dyan sa SMNI o di naman kaya dyan sa Diyan sa Net 25, di ba? Subscribe mo muna kayo dito bago tayo mag-subscribe dyan. Oh. Ito na, re-recta na ho tayo. Dito sa interview nitong ating favorite food vlogger diyan sa House of Representatives, Jude Asidre. Oh, palakpakan natin. Okay, Jude.
These
Time to shine
past
muna to.
few weeks have been quite interesting.
Itabi lang kita kay BP, ate ko natanggalin yung kay BP para at least mag-sink in sa utak mo na kahit anong kagustuhan nyo pa na matanggal si BP Sara o paninirang ginagawa nyo dyan sa House of Representatives sa kanya, hindi yan tumatalab sa ating mga kababayan. Go!
For the country, especially with the recent events in the other chamber, pero kami sa Kongreso, in the House of Representatives, we've been very focused on the preparations for the impeachment trial sa Senate. In fact, the prosecutors have started their preparations, yung pag-aaral, as well as our continued engagement. Kasi hindi lang naman sa Kongreso at sa Senado ang pinag-uusapan. We also have our continued engagement with civil society, with the other stakeholders. Para nga sa paniniwala ng Kongreso, ito yung isang usapin na hindi lamang nakalimita sa Senado. Kaya tuloy-tuloy din ang paghahanda, hindi lang ho sa mga prosecutor na ginagawa po ngayon, yung binabalikan ho lahat yung sa ebidensya na nailahad ng clarificatory hearings. Nandun din yung ating pagkuha ng mas malakas na suporta maging sa ibang sektor na interesado at nagmamatyag din sa kalalabasan nitong impeachment trial sa Senado, which is for me very important, no? Kasi in the end it's so easy to turn this political because it's anyway in the first place admitted it's a political process, but as I've always said, it's very important to put this in the context of our overall governance, di ba? Gaano ba kahalaga na may impeachment tayo? Kasi mahalagang may pananagutan ang mga nasa paglilingkod bayan. Hindi lang ho natin pwedeng baliwala lang natin ang katulad nitong mga akusasyon, itong mga reklamo, itong mga ebidensya na naipakita dahil lang sa kalagayan ng politika natin. I know the country is facing so many challenges at the moment. We've also buckled up on making sure that we have a strong legislative action framework on how to respond to the emergencies. In fact, we are about to vote on second.
Walang kwenta, lipat tayo doon sa impeachment ni BP Sara. O, dito tayo.
Ayan.
Ito na yung question na nasa portion, pero brad ano ba nangyayari sa'yo? Stress eating ka ba? Dati papayat ka na eh. Hindi ako nag-body shaming dito Hindi kita pinapahiya dito, Brad. Tinatanong lang kita kasi nalulungkot ako. Dati papayat ka na eh. Diba? Yung tipong paganda ng katawan mo eh. Ano nangyayari sa stress eating ka? Kaya tumataba ka na naman. Pambihira. Alagaan mo ko sarili mo, Brad. Bantayan mo yung mga kinakain mo. Huwag puro baboy. Hindi ka naman mauubusan ng pagkain dyan sa House of Representatives. Hinay-hinay lang sa lamon, ha? Bihira. Dati payat. Di ba sinabi ko ba, nagja-jogging na ata si Jude? Pumapayat na. Di ba nag-i-exercise na ata siya? O ngayon makikita ko, palobo na naman katawan mo, double chin ka na naman. Ano nangyayari dyan? Nakananto ko. Baka hindi umabot ng 2028, di ba? Wag naman sana, knock on wood. Gusto ko makita mo paano maging presidente si BP Sara. Alagaan mo sarili mo.
Which is, I think,
Yeah.
a good indication of how the House of Representatives takes seriously its role, not only in the impeachment trial, but also in the overall task of governance.
Ganun pangamba na nagtutuon daw ng pansin ang Kongreso sa impeachment samantalang maraming problema ang bansa. Usually nagagaling ang narrative niya sa kabila. Anong reaction niyo sa sabi ng survey?
Anong kabila, sir? Nanggagaling yung narrative sa kabila. Ano sa kabila? Sinong kabila? Doon sa mga umiiyak na kababayan natin, ngayon walang makain? Walang trabaho? Ha? Yung mga negosyo na halos magsara na dahil walang kita, yun ba yung kabilang tinutukoy mo? Ah, okay. Baka yung naratibo nyo sa maletagang. Ah, okay. Approve. Tandaan nyo yung mukha na yan. Kabila daw. Yung mga umiiyak na Pilipino na sinasabi, bakit impeachment? Paano na lang kami? O, kabila tawag niya sa inyo.
Overwhelming majority ng
O, tingnan mo, pati Mike ayaw. Napapanot ka na, sir. Anak ng tokwa. Pawala na buhok mo. Ganyan pa pinaggagawa mo sa buhay mo. Ayusin mo.
gusto matuloy ang impeachment at malaman kung anong ebidensya.
Yan di po ang isa po sa tinitignan ng Kamara noon. Tinitignan natin na lalo na after ng clarificatory hearings, halos dumoble o trumiple ang interest. At hindi lang ho interest, yung kagustuhang malaman kung paano mariresolba itong impeachment process na sinimulan po sa House of Representatives. Ako, simple lang ho ang pananaw ko dyan. Alam ho natin na maraming problema ang bansang hinaharap natin, no? At hindi ho naman nagkukulang ang Kongreso. Pero in the scale of things, no, naniniwala tayo na ang accountability is basically very essential to the quality of governance that we have in the country. Diba? Kung hindi natin kayang panagutin ang mga nasa kapangyarihan, magiging mahirap na mapapanagot natin sila sa, for example, sa quality ng governance, sa delivery of social services. So I think that's very clear, no, na hindi ito, kumbaga, itong impeachment process, hindi ito salungat, hindi ito hiwalay sa dapat naming ginagawa bilang mga mambabatas, bilang miyembro ng Kamara. Hindi ito parang I love you more, I love you less. Di ba? Hindi kami kailangan mamili. Di ba? So parehong kailangan gawin, parehong kailangan bigyan ng atensyon, kailangan parehong bigyan ng effort, no? Kasi in the end, ang taong bayan din naman ang kailangan na natin, kumbaga, i-fulfill yung obligasyon natin sa kanila.
Yan. O ba't mo kinukumpasan yung Senado na mag-focus sila sa impeachment, wag sa Blue Ribbon? Sino bang pinapanagot dun sa Blue Ribbon? Yung mga sitting government official na winalanghiya ang kabanan sa bayan. Di ba ganun yun? Oh, double standard. Yan ang problema pagka sumusobra ka sa baboy. Nagiging double standard ka. Kaya di tayo nagkakain ng baboy eh. Bira ka, Juda. Walang yaka
Kahapon ba,
talaga.
nagbigay ng pahayag ang Pangulo na hindi pahayag, lamentation kung ano ang nangyayari sa Senado. With all this, ano po ang, siguro, kaya ano ko na lang. Kasi nasa side ka ng prosecution eh. There is a senior sub judice sa regular na korte. Doon to kung anong tawag pagka sa impeachment court. Kayo na lang po sa Tindig Pinas. Ano yung reaksyon ninyo na mismong ang Pangulo nagpahayag ng tila politicking is too much in the Senate, to say the least?
Magandang umaga po. Una, hindi po ko taga-Team Pinas po.
Pinas.
Pero, yes, opo. Pero kahit
Ay, walang kwenta to. Di kita kilala. Kay Juda Sidre lang ako. Juda Sidre lang. Pagka hindi congressman, huwag mo na magsalita dito. Kay Jude lang.
Sa totoo naman ako naniniwala na, may tiwala pa naman ako na sa kaparehong paraan na ginampanan ho ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang aming role sa prosesong ito, ay gagampanan din naman ng mga senador ang kanilang role, no, under the Constitution to serve as the impeachment court. I don't see any reason to doubt that at the moment. Ang worry ko lang is kung sa lahat ng ingay na ito, hindi kaya madistract ang taong bayan, di ba? It's really more of paano natin ma-establish yung, kasi technically they cannot derail it eh. We're all duty bound. In the same way that kami sa House, we had no choice but we were bound by the constitutional process to initiate the impeachment after may nagsampa ng complaint ako naniniwala na gagawin at walang choice ang Senado kundi gawin at gampanan ang
Ginagawa na nga, nakaschedule na nga, pinadala na nga ng summons yung kampo ni VP Sara, di ba? O ano pang gagawin? Talagang
huli nila.
sige,
Klaro yon. Pero itong mga ingay ng individual senators na lang sabihin natin, no? At kung ano pang mga nangyayari ngayon sa political scene natin, sana hindi ito maging kumbaga rason to muddle the issue, di ba? Kasi hindi rin makakatulong sa mga kababayan natin, sa mga nanonood.
Committee to be chaired by Senator Marcoleta. Sabi ni Marcoleta, i-isasama niya si Trillanes, DOJ, tsaka NBI.
Oh, may problema.
To siguro explain their side on the recent
Ako,
Senate. How would you interpret this development?
Ako, I would react with caution, no, kasi I'm not so sure how they do their process sa Senate, pero ang pagkakaalam ko katulad sa amin sa Kongreso, the one who creates
Kayo na akong bumalagbag dito kay Jude Asidre sa bahagi ng video natin na to. Bahala na ho kayo dyan. Ang importante lang naman dito, makita ng sambayan ng Pilipino kahit ano pong paninira ang ginawa kay VP Sara, ayan pa rin ho siya. Ayan pa rin ho, nakatindig. Yan talaga ang tindig. Yung kasama nitong si Jude Asidre, di ko kilala yung tindig Pilipinas. Alam ko yung tindig Pilipinas siya, kay Leila de Lima yan eh. Pinapatindig lang naman itong si Leila de Lima, yung driver bodyguard niya. Ito, rekta ho tayo kay tuloy ho natin to.
the subcommittee is a mother committee in the plenary. The plenary organizes the mother committees, and then the mother committee, kumbaga ito in this case, the Blue Ribbon, is supposed to be the one to create the subcommittee. It's unheard of sa House na gagawa ng subcommittee for that purpose. And in any case, all of these actions have to be approved on the floor sa plenary, which I'd like to presume hindi naman sila nag-session mula ng Webes, di ba? So I would want to withhold my reaction on whether it is in accordance with the rules or not. No, kailangan gusto kong antayin until Monday kung how the plenary of the Senate will deal with that. Pero sasagutin ko na rin yung tanong mo. Pareho ako ng katanungan ng marami, no? Na bakit kaya pinipilit nila na gawin to sa panahong ito ngayon, di ba? Alam naman natin kung ano at saan nakatuon ang atensyon ng taong bayan. At ngayon, kailangan nilang buksan ulit kung saan ayaw naman nilang pirmahan yung partial report na tinapos ni Senator Lacson. Why the sudden shift? Why the sudden urgency? Hindi siguro natin makakailan na maisip ng ibang tao. Kami siguro sa Kamara at marami kaming mga kasamahan ang nagtatanong bakit pinipilit ngayon. Total, nandyan na rin naman ang proseso sa Ombudsman, which is a proper forum. And I think everybody will agree that that is a proper forum, no? The Ombudsman at the moment, because cases have started to be filed, hindi mo maiwasang isipin ba na ginagawa ba nila ito para sa umaga, babalikan nila lahat yung mga miyembro ng Kamara, yung mga nasa executive agencies para sa hapon sa impeachment. Medyo nawawala kami, nakakalampag kami sa impeachment court. Huwag naman ng ganun, di ba? Ginagawa ba to para to undermine the impeachment process? Kung hindi mo naman mapipigilan yung impeachment trial from proceeding, baka ang iniisip nila, pwedeng, sige, guluhin na lang natin, di ba? So, I think that is those are valid questions that needs to be answered. I'm not saying that we should escape accountability, but we allow the proper forum to take over the process of exacting accountability. Kasi kung sa Senado rin lang naman, may senador din kasi na kasama sa mga inaakusahan. Kaparehong, kung kami, hindi rin naman siguro matutuwa ang taong bayan na kami rin ang mag-iimbestiga sa mga kasamahan namin sa House. And precisely the reason bakit the House decided to defer the role of the investigation sa Ombudsman. I think the process of searching for accountability, of exacting accountability should proceed, should continue. Pero ang tanong ko dapat it should be on the basis of evidence, it should be on the basis of the rule of law, and it should not be used as a mechanism to deflect attention from the ongoing impeachment trial. Because in the end, accountability din yun eh. You cannot undermine that, di ba? So, yun lang yung punto ko regarding dun sa pag-create ng subcommittee.
Parang this appears to me na parang underhanded effort to turn the tables on the minority, di ba?
Hindi
And
lang
seize
ako.
the political initiative.
Siguro may ganun silang dynamics sa Senate, no? Sila siguro ang makakasagot nun yung current majority at current minority. Pero kami kasi alam naman ho ng lahat na may mga akusasyon sa mga miyembro ng Kamara. At sa hapon, kung mangyari sakasakaling mangyari man to, tuloy-tuloy, gagampanan ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang role bilang prosecutors, di ba? So there will always be that institutional tension that we would want to avoid at the moment, given the gravity of the impeachment trial. I don't think, no, as I've always said, lahat tayo gusto ng accountability, pero hindi mangyayari ang accountability kung unahin natin yung politika. Hindi mangyayari ang accountability kung gagamitin natin ito to the political advantage of one group over the other. Kasi sa totoo lang, ang mas malaking tanong pag nagsimula ng Blue Ribbon Subcommittee investigation sa Senate, sa Blue Ribbon Subcommittee, no? Ang malaking katanungan doon, sino magbibenepisyo eh? Kaninong naratibo ang mangingibabaw, di ba? So, the people we have to be very clear. In the end, no, the shortcuts will not serve our ultimate purpose of exacting accountability, whether in the case of the flood control problem or scandal, or in the case of the impeachment.
Kong, good morning po. Ang problema dun sa konsepto ng accountability, plakado siya dun sa kinakailangang makonvict yung pangalawang Pangulo. With the current dynamics sa Senado, ibig bang sabihin nito kung may problema yung mekanismo kung sakasakaling hindi magtagumpay?
Ayaw kong pangunahan kung anong mangyayari no sa proseso ng impeachment kasi katulad niya ng sinabi ko dati sa ibang interview, nung nagsisimula din kami sa House, hindi naman ganun kasigasig din ang suporta ng napakaraming congressman katulad ng numerong eventually nag-endorse. Yes, marami ang sumusuporta sa impeachment, pero marami din yung mga medyo nagdadalawang isip. Una, dahil hindi naman sila kasama nung exercise natin nung 19th Congress. 1/3 of Congress, hindi naman mga congressmen nung in-impeach namin siya nung nakaraang taon. Pangalawa, syempre, hindi naman natin makakaila kasi nagbabasa din naman kami ng newspaper, tinitignan din naman namin sa Facebook, ang popularidad ng pangalawang Pangulo, di ba? But the process kasi allowed us to clarify our position, especially nung nilabas na yung mga ebidensya. Doon talaga, lumabas na rin yung suporta ng mga congressman. Kasi hindi pwedeng baguhin o hindi mo pwedeng i-distort yung katotohanan na pinapakita ng mga numero ng dokumento eh. You cannot change that eh. Eventually, that became more than compelling for 200 plus, way above the expected number of the members of Congress to agree to the impeachment, to find probable cause in the impeachment of the Vice President. I expect the same for the Senate. I cannot say at the moment, I'm sure at the moment, klarado yung, sabi mo nga, yung interplay ng political dynamics. Pero may tiwala ako that the process is so designed, no? The process is so designed na pag nailabas na yung ebidensya, nakita na ilatag ng prosecution ng kanilang kaso, in the end, magkakaroon ng pagkakataon ng mga senador na kumbaga timbangin kung saan dapat ang kanilang loyalty, sa politika ba o sa taong bayan?
Gamitin ko lang yung May survey ng Okta. Kay Congressman pa rin po, bago kay Prof. Lumalabas po doon halos 7 sa bawat 10 Pilipino ay pabor doon sa impeachment. Ibig bang sabihin po nito, yung numero po ba na ito ay sapat para tutulan o igupo yung tangka para patayin yung proseso ng impeachment?
Sa totoo lang ho, while the numbers are very encouraging, 7 out of 10 Filipinos in favor of the impeachment, and I think the number continues to be steady across the line, I would rather na ituon namin talaga sa ebidensya. It's not the popularity or the unpopularity of the opinion that should determine the outcome. It should be the evidence that should determine the outcome. Hindi lang naman ang Vice President ang nasasakdal dito eh. What is being placed on trial is our democracy. Diba? Yung katatagan ng ating mga institusyon, ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa ating mga institusyon, dapat kasama ho yun sa equation. Bagamat encouraging at to be honest, we feel validated to a certain extent, no? Pero ako personally naniniwala na mas mahalagang nakatuon tayo sa ebidensya. Let the evidence speak for itself. And let that be the basis for the outcome of the impeachment trial.
Yung pong let the evidence speak, panawagan po para kanino yan?
I mean, sa lahat yan. Sa lahat. Sa Senado, sa prosekusyon, sa mga taong nanonood. Alam ko kasi sa panahon natin ngayon, madala tayo ng mga pananaw natin sa politika, to our political loyalties, to our political interests. And we're not denying that, no? But if ever the nation would have to decide through our senators, I hope the measure is the evidence, not political loyalties. The measure should be how the process was carried out, no? Not to favor one interest over the other.
Okay. So si Professor naman.
Siguro dagdag lang sa sinabi ni Congressman, no, na when Octam organized that probe, ang basic question namin was not about so what was the probe's outcome? 69%, nearly 7 out of 10 Filipinos are in support of an impeachment trial. So it's important to understand that they're not supporting conviction. What they're supporting is a process. And that's significant because when you go down to the other probes, we asked those who were pro Duterte why they were supporting the process. Again, it's also for accountability. They want a process to clear her name. So one side of the country is saying, let's use the process to clear her name. The other side, when you go up north, Balance Luzon, NCR, and some parts of Visayas, the perspective changes. Pananagutan, no? Okay? And this is important because ang everyday Filipino matalino nuance siya, hindi siya pro anti lang. Nakikita nila yung proseso, tama sinabi ni Congressman, as a way to move forward, no? Importanteng maintindihan natin kababayan na ang ating constitution ginawa para sa kanila, no? And the provision of the constitution that talks about impeachment talks about accountability for the people, not for political parties or political groups. So important yung sinabi ni Congressman Isidre on this. And sa Octa Research, yun nga, this study was in the first quarter. We're releasing one next week. Okay, so we're just clarifying the data. Tumaas ba yung number tumaas ba yung support for the impeachment? Bumaba ba? Okay, again, the question here is not about the outcome, convicted ba o hindi. Ang pinag-uusapan yung proseso. And 87% of our kababayans are aware of the impeachment process. Mataas ho yung awareness. Now, aware ba sila sa detalye ng kaso? Hindi po. Pero aware sila na may prosesong nagaganap. At yung proseso na to, inaasahan, and again, we have another question i-release namin next week para sa media, ano ba inaasahan nila sa impeachment? And what seems to be clear is the everyday Filipino wants an impeachment na tapat, okay, pantay-pantay, patas, no, at maayos, regardless of the outcome. And I was misquoted in the press yesterday. Gusto ko lang i-emphasize yung sinabi ni Congressman kasi I share the same belief, no? Na right now, the process is just starting and I have confidence that the Senate, no, in the end, will do its part, its constitutional duty, will hear the case. Whatever the outcome is, my sense of the numbers is that Filipinos will accept it as long as it is exactly that, fair, honest, no, and orderly. So yun ang gusto ho ng ating mga kababayan, no, isang patas, maayos na paglilitis, no. And of course, gaya nga sabi ng ating Senate President, di ba? The truth shall set everyone free. So as long as it's evidence-based, feeling ko ang mga kababayan natin will accept the process. Whatever the outcome, whatever the outcome. Basta evidence-based yan at maayos yung trial, people will accept it. Pero of course, that's assuming, of course, na magagawin ng Senate, and I believe kaya naman gawin ng Senate, yung role nila in this particular process. Yun lang.
Pero sabi niyo ang data ng first quarter, 87% awareness. Out of that 87, almost 70 in favor of impeachment trial. Pero syempre, trial ang sinasabi din sa tanong ninyo. So may kanya-kanyang pananaw yung tao eh. Kung ano yung gusto niyang maaaring sa 70% na yon, naniniwala na kaya sila gusto trial para makitang inosente yung isa. Meron naniniwala na para makitang guilty yung isa. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, kasi may binanggit kayo na kung ba't sinuportahan ng tao eh, tapat, patas, maayos.
Patas at maayos.
Opo. So, siyempre, pananaw ng tao yun eh. Value niya yun eh.
Tama.
Hindi ho kaya pag nakita nilang nagigipit yung kanilang idolo eh, mawawala ang kanilang pagtingin, ang paggalang doon sa impeachment. May ganyan tao eh. Bakit sabi nga nila, wala, parang pag-ibig daw yan eh. Walang mandamos.
Maaari, no? Sir, maaari, no? Pero again, ang proseso ko kasi ng paglilitis, hindi naman lahat ng ating mga kababayan familiar sa proseso na yan. Mawawala ang emosyon dyan, lalo na pagka dinaan mo sa proseso. Ito yung ebidensya. At maganda to kasi education to para sa atin lahat. Ako naman, di ako eksperto dito. Pero pagka nakikita mo yung legal process, kasi isang prosesong legal rin ng impeachment eh. May trial rules yan. At makikita nating evidence on both sides, kasi makikita nila na ito palang hustisya sa ating bayan. Yung taong may kaso, may chance siyang i-defend sarili niya, tapos may ebidensya rin syempre against sa may prosecution defense. That is good for democracy kasi nakikita ng mga tao na ito yung judicialization ng ating legal process. Nangalaan natin political process through the impeachment. Maganda yan kasi ma-orderly. Lalo pag orderly yan, maintindihan ng taong bayan, ito pala yung mga issues, ito pala talaga ang katotohanan, and they'll be able to make a judgment. Pero right now, marami sa amin survey nagsasabi hindi nila alam yung detalye ng kaso. Napaka-konti pa lang ang nakakaintindi ng kaso. And the more that this process moves forward, the better informed they will be. And I'm sure, ang mga kababayan natin, and ang OCTAD, nandito pa since COVID times nakikita namin na pag better informed ang mga kababayan natin, mas empowered sila.
So, Prof, naniniwala kayo na may kakayahan na ang karaniwang kagaya namin ng mga Pilipino na mag-weigh ng pros and cons. Kaya lang pagka imagine sa bansa natin, pinagtatalunan ng meaning ng forthwith. Hindi ko kaya ganun din yung karaniwang mamamayan ng definition o pag-unawa sa isang bagay ay hindi nakasandal sa kaalaman. Kung hindi nakasandal sa kung ano yung kanyang emosyon.
Pwede, no? Pwede. Pero of course, yan ang role ng media. Kaya nga tayo nandito, yung academe, is to explain things to our everyday Filipinos. Okay, ano yung nangyari dun sa case ngayong araw na pag-usapan, di ba? The more our kababayan, and may kumpiyansa sa ating mga kababayan, no, na yes, may mga pananaw sila, and you won't believe it kahit naman anong outcome ng impeachment ito for the side of, let's say, VP Duterte, malakas pa rin ang suporta sa kanya. This is survey data talking na. We will release this, of course, no? Kahit she will look guilty in that process, her support will not wane very much, no? There's still a very strong core of voters who are really pro-Duterte, whatever the outcome is. But a large number of our kababayans are undecided, eh. So yun ang number of Filipinos who will be, in a sense, educated, di ba? Empowered to make a decision. And here, the outcome may be convict or not convict. That's not the issue now. The issue is how our everyday Filipinos, gaya na sabi ni Congressman, will be swayed by the narratives. Kasi this will be not just a war of evidence, eh. It will also be a war of narratives. In the end, so ang sabi nga namin sa OCTA, yung impeachment is not just a constitutional process na kailangan maganap, conversion process din po siya, parang religious process. Kasi either mako-convince ka or hindi, no? And that's also why it has to move forward. At sana maging tapat, maging maayos sa Senado.
Pero kayo nagsasabi din ng popularity, ano? Obviously, kaya naman medyo may pangamba o takot yung iba na magsalita tungkol sa issue ito. Nakasandal naman yung paniniwalang yun na popular yung isang tao. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, bakit hindi maka-create ng o hindi makapag-mobilize ng maraming tao? Nung week na nagkakagulo sa Senado, nung namaril yung security guard ng Senado ng law enforcers, tumatawag sila ng tao para suportahan. Pero mukhang mukhang pag nag-concert yung Bini, mas marami pang pupunta kaysa doon sa, hinahanap ko yung educate us using your numerical prowess. Bakit walang dumating ng mga tao para iligtas o isalbar yung kanilang mga idolo?
Well, number one, siguro hindi rin natin how should I say this? It was a call at the middle of the night, no? When all of this at night. Yung timing is also an issue, no? These are details, no? But I think the broader answer would be, iba yung pananaw ng mga kababayan natin We have to believe na the everyday Filipino is intelligent. Kasi you guys are the everyday. We are all the everyday Filipinos now. And when hindi naman tayo yung sunod-sunuran, parang sheep na pag sinabi, punta kayo dito. May mga pumunta rin naman, di ba? Pero hindi karamihan. And you have to understand that in NCR and Balanced Zone, if you look at the latest surveys from Okta, sino hunang muna sa tandem dito? It's actually in Balanced Zone and NCR, what we're seeing over the last 2 quarters is a major shift in the perspective of the country in this area. So NCR, Balanced Zone, is moving away from the Duterte, leaning towards Duterte. It's not anymore neutral. So again, the data is available online and we've already given it. All you have to do is look at the regional breakdown. In NCR and Balanced Zone, double-digit na ho ang lead ng opposition against the Dutertes. So here in this area, they're not as popular as they used to be. But in Visayas and Mindanao, they continue to be lalo in Mindanao, very, very popular. So well, right now, Lenny and Tulfo are extremely popular here. That hypothetical tandem. Now, whether that will happen or not is a big issue. But what it merely says, to answer your question, is in this part of the country, not only are people critical of these kinds of mass organizing, people have also taken a different view. They're not anymore neutral, they're moving towards a different perspective altogether, which is, I think, more critical. Now, will this trend continue moving forward? Hindi natin alam. Second quarter, meron tayo sa June. Okay.
Prof, was there a portion in the survey that would suggest na naiintindihan talaga ng mga tao, ng mga Pilipino, ng mga respondents, yung konsepto ng impeachment? O baka naman, using yung premise ni Ariel kanina, nagiging popularity lang ito dun sa kanilang pagboto dun sa
initial probes namin, mahina ho yung pagkakaintindi as far as the evidence is concerned. Now, awareness of the impeachment, they hear it on radio, they watch it on TV, they hear it discussed by their friends and family. So yun ang basic question, a basic understanding of awareness. But when you go deeper into the evidence, hindi na naintindihan yun. Which is also why, when you ask about conviction, ang dami ho undecided. They're still waiting for that evidence. Now, a part of that process has already been elaborated by the House through their own hearings, di ba? So malaking factor yun Hindi pa namin na-measure yun Ang aming survey, January, February, March lang. Natapos yung sa House noong April, no? And doon nagkaroon ng summary, ito na findings namin, ganyan. So we're still measuring that. Number 2, ang tingin namin sa impeachment, sa ongoing process And yung awareness and understanding will actually heighten pag nandun na sa trial period. So just a point of note, no? Nung June last year, second quarter of 2025, 78% ang pinakamataas na support for the impeachment. Ngayon, 69%. Now, kung tumaas to, then of course, may impact, ibig sabihin yung ginawa ng House, no? In terms of raising awareness about the issue. But ultimately, this is not just a popularity issue. It's not just an issue of public opinion. It's also a legal, constitutional issue. Sana kung matuloy sa Senado to, mas lalo magkakaroon ng clarity ang ating mga kababayan on the issue.
Prof, I think
If I may add,
something.
I know every generation speaks a particular language, but it would be good to point out na despite the differences in the language or the attitude or the behavior, may mga enduring Filipino values kasi. May mga values na define us, like ano ang in-expect natin sa gobyerno, ano yung klaseng lipunan gusto natin maging. At despite the differences and the divergences from every generation to the next, I think kitang-kita naman ng tao. Ang mahalaga lang, siguro challenge din sa amin sa Kamara bilang part, kahit hindi ako prosecution, no? Pero bilang part sa parte ng prosecution, is to make sure that our language, the way we present the case, will speak to the reality of ordinary Filipinos. Yun ang mahalaga. Lalong-lalo na sa panahon na may kinakaharap tayong mga krisis. Sabi nga nila, ang panahon ng krisis ay palaging panahon ng posibilidad. In 2001 ba yun, EDSA II, Erap was a very popular president. The Senate was dominated by his allies. But it changed the perception of the people, yung evidence, yung proseso, at alam naman natin ang nangyari thereafter. Kaya ako may tiwala sa prosesong ito kung makikita lang ng taong bayan ang stake nila, ang papel nila sa nangyayaring ito. Dapat doon natin makita yun eh. Yung mga senador na kumampi sa dating Pangulong Estrada among the more popular senators who eventually lost in the election thereafter that followed in 2001 election after the EDSA II. So, hindi ito bago na pangyayari. Hindi ito first time na mag-i-impeach tayo na napaka-popular na leader. Ginawa na natin to dati. Kailangan lang, katulad niya sinabi ni Prof. Ranjit, this is the defining moment for this generation. Walang isang sanin lahi, walang isang generation that receives a perfect nation. Palaging may room for improvement ang pagka-Pilipino. Palaging may room for improvement ang Pilipinas. Ito ang panahon natin to make that improvement.
Prof, doon po sa survey ninyo na itong may resulta, kapuna-puna po doon yung bahagyang pagpalo pataas at pagsaud-dos ng numero ng Pangulo at pangalawang Pangulo in terms of performance and trust rating. Pwede po ba nating sabihin o na may kinalaman yung impeachment sa usapin na ito, una, at pangalawa, doon po sa lingering notion, lalo na sa pangalawang Pangulo, na all this time parang ang tingin ng mga tao sa kanya, lalo na sa mga komento sa social media, na non-performing yung pangalawang Pangulo.
Yung nire-refer niyo po na survey, hindi ho sa survey company namin yun. Pero so I can comment on it. But yung survey na nilabas ng Okta, which is available again, ang dalawang divergent trends na lumabas. Number one, bumaba ho ang performance rating ng Vice President. Nag-improve yung performance rating ng Presidente, pati yung kanyang trust rating. But that was before the major crisis na dulot ng ating Middle East conflict. So ngayon, second quarter, which we're going to do in June, tingnan natin kung dumaus-dos nga ang numbers niya. We don't